The idiom selling ice to Eskimos means to have an almost unbelievable ability to persuade people to buy things they absolutely do not eat, or they already have in abundance, which is the same thing.
Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. I love my little cat. I'm very fond of that. I'd rather have a pig. Bow wow 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 wow.
Hello, and welcome to the Mochiverse. I'm Linette.
And I'm Skip.
Well, hello. Selling ice to an Eskimo. I love it.
Yeah. It's just in there's two ways you can it is in the usage. Like a positive context, it can be used as high praise to
Right.
compliment somebody's charisma, and negatively speaking, it also can be critique, implying the salesperson is manipulative and can
Right.
trick people into doing something stuff.
Exactly. Or, since I watch a lot of true crime documentaries, that's always it's like 80% of the serial killers are so charismatic.
Well, that's it. They have to be, and that's that's what allows them to play their game, whatever their game is. Well,
Ah,
usually not a good game. Yeah.
exactly. Well, I found some because you were talking about that one, I was inspired to do a quick search because there's a lot of similar sayings that say the same thing. Some of these I've never heard before and they're quite good. And this is from Power Thesaurus. One of the examples is sell air to a bird,
Mm-hmm.
sell water to a fish,
Yep.
sell rain to a rainforest, and sell ice to a penguin, firewood to a lumberjack. Oh yeah, laughter to a comedian. Yeah, so that's as far as that went. But I feel like there are. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Sell coals to Newcastle.
Yeah. Okay. So here's another one. Sell sand at the beach.
Yeah, sell sand at the beach. Selling seashells by the seashore.
There you go. Yeah. And here's a weird one. Selling a ketchup popsicle to a woman with white gloves.
Oh, I've heard that. Yes, I've heard that one. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in my Google search, somebody's asking, what can I say instead of Eskimo? Because it's like saying Indian. It's not a nice
Yeah.
word
It's
anymore. So Inuit, for the
it,
indigenous peoples of Canada and Greenland,
yeah.
or Yupik for specific groups in Alaska or Siberia.
Yeah, it's weird how that you wouldn't have thought I wouldn't have thought that, but it is. It's like it's considered an outdated expression to call it an Eskimo. But in business, it's usually considered the top tier salesman who can sell ice to an Eskimo or something like that.
Oh yeah.
That's the way it is with salespeople. Is a good salesperson can sell almost anything. So.
I found a couple more cute ones. You could sell religion to the Pope.
Okay.
He could sell underwear to a nudist. He could sell a two-wheeled bike to a unicyclist. And you could sell crutches to an Olympic sprinter. I like those ones.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, some of them, I think right away, as soon as you say that, it's a familiar saying, and you right away know exactly what it means when you say it. Even though, again, we always think that some people are too sensitive, and I just look at that. That's saying I don't think anything wrong about it, but I'm not an Eskimo, so.
Yeah. No, it's only just I wouldn't say it's bad. I just think I just wanted to note that it's outdated. Only
Yeah.
because it's kind of like I said, like when you're talking about indigenous folks,
Hmm.
they can refer to themselves as Indians if they like, but it's
Right.
probably not nice for us to call them Indians, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because that's not really how they prefer to be referred to as, because they're not the name was false to begin with.
Right.
And so they're kind of like, it's not like, it depends on the person, I'm sure. But I think
Mm.
for some people, it's less hurtful and more ignorant. They just like think lesser of us for just like Indians,
Yeah,
some shit like that.
yeah, I think you can go down to any nationality and have
Hmm.
some name
Oh, for
that
sure.
is not flattering.
Oh, for sure.
Uh,
Even the milder ones that aren't like,
mhm,
really nasty. Like
yeah,
I'm sure there's a few Irish people out there who wouldn't like to be called a Mick, but
right.
there's a few that don't mind that at all.
Yep.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? And it also depends on what other words go around it.
That's true. It's like for Italians, the terminology "wop," which basically is without papers.
Without papers, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's definitely like it's another one that's misattributed in the first place,
Hmm.
and also like sort of mean, and like looking down on somebody, dismissive. So I guess it depends on whether the origin of the word is supposed to be insulting, like when it first came out,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I know that I use the word gypsy. A lot of people don't,
Right.
because it's not a currently used term, and it's not super liked. But I have a small amount of that history in my DNA, so I kind of justify it that way. I
Yeah.
can say
Yeah.
it if I want, you know what I mean? But yeah, just about every group has words that are at one time were used very casually to describe them, and
Yeah.
many times are now, at the very
Yeah.
least, no longer used. Yeah.
Right. People have lent names to surprising things.
Yes.
Nachos. Nachos was named after Ignacio,
Ignacio. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Ignacio Anya, who was worked in a hotel in Mexico when he threw together some fried tortilla chips topped with melted cheese and jalapeno peppers.
Yeah. And
And
that was his nickname too, was Nacho.
yeah,
Yeah.
nacho. Yeah, that's right. Sideburns.
Hmm.
They were named after a 19th century American soldier, the president of the National Rifle Association, uh, Ambrose Burnside, who was noted for his unusually
Oh.
bushy facial hair. Gradually, it migrated from Burnsides to sideburns, probably
Yeah.
because they grow on the side of the face. So,
Well, yes, and also I have seen them referred to as Burnsides as well. So
right.
that would
Okay.
have been back then. They just sort of said, it kind of rolls off the tongue better if you say it this way.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that one.
The word dunce, it derives from John Duns Scotus, one of the 14th century's foremost theologians. He studied and lectures at Oxford, Paris, and died thinking of himself as one of the wisest men ever. That sounds familiar. He had followers, and his religious theories fell out of fashion because they were ridiculed. They were first known, the group that followed him, as the Dunsmen, then the Dunses. And they were so close-minded that by 1577, the word dunce had come to mean stupid.
Wow.
Isn't it amazing how it just sort of derives? We talk about names, and you think about nicknames. Ferris wheels were named after George Washington Gale Ferris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shrapnel named after British General Henry Shrapnel.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he invented a new kind of exploding shell in the 1790s. Maverick was a Texan lawyer and land baron called Samuel Maverick, who
Oh.
refused to brand his cattle. In time in Texas, any cattle that were unbranded came to be known as Mavericks.
Oh, that's very interesting because I thought it referred to horses.
Yeah. So Maverick's grandson coined the word gobbledygook. Why, I don't know.
It's a great word.
Anyway, so it's sort of interesting how that,
Those are
we segued
good.
into names and stuff and how names derived. I'm sure there's others.
There are,
Uh,
yeah, I found a couple. Of
mhm.
course, the one we use now is Karen.
Yeah, yeah, that's
That's not
true.
named after somebody in particular, but this I
Yeah.
didn't know. Calling somebody a chauvinist is actually named after a person named Chauvin.
Oh, cool.
And and when you're a chauvinist, you're aggressively prejudiced or blindly devoted, right? That's
Yeah.
what the original meaning was.
Meaning it. Okay.
And this Nicholas Chauvin was like a super fan of Napoleon.
Okay.
Yeah. The word boycott is named after a person,
Joe Boycott.
Charles. He was a British land agent in Ireland, and his cruel treatment of tenants led the local community to shun him. So
Uh,
they named the process after him. It's not like he was boycotting things; they were boycotting him, which is great.
okay. Which is,
Uh,
well, that's that.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
that's where
really cool.
boycott is. That's right. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
And of course, there's one that used to be used a lot more, especially on things like the Brady Bunch.
Hmm.
Benedict Arnold.
Oh yeah. Benedict Arnold, yeah.
Which I don't think anybody in their 20s or 30s would have any idea what we're talking about when you say like, oh, you've been a Benedict Arnold. Like,
Yeah.
you betrayed someone if you were a Benedict Arnold, or
Was he? Yeah. Was he a traitor or a hero? So
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Google says he defected to the British. So, if you were British, I suppose you'd call him an asset, but
Mhm.
he was a turncoat. So,
Turncoat. Yeah. Yeah. That's another. Is that after James Turncoat?
no, you know what that literally comes from?
Yeah.
Because they wore different color coats.
So that's right. And then they just, yeah, okay.
You literally wore a red instead of a blue coat. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they turn it inside out and they be a turncoat.
They were a turncoat. Yeah. Maybe it was blue on the inside. They had like fancy two color,
Yeah.
like in the
What do
80s.
they call? I'm going to date. That's like piping. Is that piping? No, it's not
No,
piping.
it's not
There's something
piping.
else for it. Piping is the edging.
Reversible is what it was.
Reversible.
Yeah.
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 Do you know which company is the world's largest manufacturer of tires?
Of tires.
Tires, yeah. Car tire, tires. Tires, any kind of tires.
Like my first thought would be to say Goodyear, but since it's a trivia question, it's probably not.
Yeah. So it's not Pirelli or Michelin or Dunlop. The world's largest tire manufacturer is Lego.
That's really good.
Yeah, they make 320 million tires a year for their toys, which far outstrips Michelin, which is 170 million. Lego tires are smaller and not full of air, but they're definitely rubber and they go on wheels of vehicles.
Yeah, they count.
In Latin, Lego means I gather or collect. But that's
Oh,
not the source of the name. The name comes from a Danish leg god, meaning play well.
that's what I thought because they were Danish. Yeah, Danish
Yeah,
company.
yeah.
And
The
did you
first,
know that most of us say Legos when we're not supposed to? It's not, there's no S, even when you're talking about multiple ones. It's
it's
always
just
just
let go,
Lego.
right?
Yeah.
Right. They were first Lego blocks were made in 1949, and it's copied from an existing toy created by a British inventor. Okay,
Ah,
Hilary Fisher Page. He called his invention the Kittycraft self-locking building block. No wonder they called it
not
Lego.
as catchy. Yeah. This is this is the problem with the British. They use too many words to describe a simple thing.
Yeah, I know. It's just like luggage.
Not as catchy. It's like the cheese shop sketch from Monty Python. I was
Mhm.
showing that to Richard the other day, and I was like, the reason the beginning of it is so funny is because he's being very flowery and purple prose with his language. And he's saying, as I was preambling down the, whatever, I thought I would purvey your cheesy comestibles. And the guy's like, what? He's like, I like a bit of cheese if forced
Yeah.
to.
What it's a lot of little things about Legos. I think Legos have been around for quite a while. Obviously, Lego bricks are fully compatible, whether they were made at the beginning or yesterday. They
That's
still
cool.
make them. They don't change the manufacturing.
That's
Uh,
good. Yeah, Apple could learn a thing or two from that company.
yeah, and I guess I didn't realize Lego human figures were first introduced in 1975.
Oh,
The early ones were always smiling, but now they have a wide range of emotions. You know,
that's
uh,
really cool. They got
yeah.
some really nice new Lego sets that are cool. Have you ever seen all the like the flower ones?
Hmm.
Those are like more my not just, I mean, I like flowers, but like they're more my speed because I always wanted to buy a Lego set, but they're always so complex and there are
Yeah.
just so many different bricks to make this huge thing. And I'd be like, can I just make it that's got like less pieces? And It looks like something quicker.
As it turns out, I mean, it basically, this was the first toy, if you will, that integrated psychology. In other words, it would, either to quiet kids down or to, get them to be creative.
Hmm.
So it's interesting that's how it's evolved in terms of the Lego stuff. It's just making stuff out of nothing, all of a sudden seeing something and then making it look like something else out of a bunch of Lego blocks.
Which is
So,
really cool. I mean, I could never build anything without a kit because I'm not as creative. All my houses just look like boxes.
mhm.
They usually just had two windows in the front because I had a couple of windows, but nothing, I could never make complex rooms or anything like that. So if I want to make anything specific, I would have to buy the kit, which are
Yeah,
so expensive. But
it
yeah.
is, And hey, listen, I would have thought, if you think about when I used to have my shop and you would sit and just put all the scraps of wood together and make something,
Oh, yeah.
so that there was your creative side that you know
Yeah,
didn't get
there's
developed further than that, right?
That's true. There's a little bit there. Although, I was thinking about that. I wish they still, or maybe girls weren't invited if they still had them. Those little boxcar things that they used to do as kids.
Hmm.
That would have been a cool thing to do as a kid.
Yeah,
Just take some scraps of wood and make a little boxcar, and do the races and stuff.
yeah, yep, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Make it a. I mean, they would. It's. I think I've seen on Facebook or something like that that people make it out of like a boat out of cardboard, and then they race it, and then I think, okay, this is going to get soaked and it's going to sink,
Oh,
but
yeah. Well,
I,
if you ever watched the movie or read the book It, you know that if you can make a boat out of paper, but you have to put paraffin on it so that it
yeah.
will float. Yeah,
But if you miss a spot,
that's true.
yeah, I,
And
that's
on Mythbusters, they made a boat out of paper. They made a boat out of newspaper.
okay. Just to
But it
prove it could be
was,
done. Yeah.
yes, it was like thousands of layers of newspaper with like, you know, varnish or some such on it. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and I find that's interesting because I found through my experience, if there are certain things that you use that you that are made for one thing, but if you use it for something else, it may not work the same.
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
Uh, like when I've built benches and stuff like that, and I would use a spar varnish or I would use a boat varnish, which is similar, the same thing really, but it doesn't stand up as well. It would if there's any gaps or anything anywhere, it sort of chips off and will peel away. And the problem with it is it goes to the basic gluing philosophy. Not gluing, I shouldn't say philosophy, but the gluing mechanics, which is the two types of glue. There's glue that bonds and glue that adheres.
Right.
And bonding is better than adhering because adhering has a specific shear strength, which means it'll separate uh, under certain pressures or uh, moisture or whatever would affect it.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, one more. This is should be kind of quick.
Mm.
Uh, John Boyd Dunlop patented the pneumatic tire in 1888. It was inspired by his son bumping across cobbles on his tricycle.
Hmm.
He was a Scottish vet living in Belfast, adapted a leather garden hose to make an inner tube, filled it with water, and inserted between two thin pieces of rubber glued together.
Oh.
Uh, and that's how he started. And later he replaced the water with air. And his patent was rescinded because someone else claimed, another Scot, Robert Thompson, had come up with the air-filled tube. The thing of it is and I think in one respect, water versus air.
Hmm.
I'm not sure which is better. I know everything's air now, but uh, The water sounds like a pretty interesting concept for filling a tire with it, but I'm not sure.
Didn't that used to be used in like dune buggies and stuff?
Yeah, I think
Inside the
so.
top
Yeah.
because of the sand, it would give better
Hmm.
traction in the sand. Probably because of weight, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that the problem, and it's just the same problem with tires as it is with whether it's air or water, is that the type of rubber that you have to use has to be it can be pretty expensive to manufacture to give it enough strength to stand up under the pressure,
Well, it has to be,
So,
yeah, well, yeah, because you can't, uh, the vulcanization process probably uses up a lot of energy and
hmm
it, it takes a lot of heat and it takes a lot of time and resources to do that because you have to vulcanize rubber in order to strengthen it. Otherwise, it's just glorified tree sap. I'm actually going to start by going back to something you just talked about, but it's also a callback to something we talked about in a previous episode. So I don't know if you remember. I don't know if it was last episode. I think it was last episode. We were talking about the way that Germans have some really very literal words for things. I think the
yeah,
one you talked about was the anti-baby pille, the birth control pill.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I love those, and there are lots of examples. So I found some more examples of those, the very literal German words, and I'm not going to try and pronounce them correctly. Some of them I didn't even bother writing down because I knew I wasn't going to pronounce them, but I got a few that I'm going to try and tackle. So the first one is das Kummerspeck, probably wrong, but it's a word for the weight that you gain from emotional eating, right?
Oh, okay.
And it literally translates to grief bacon.
Great big.
Yeah. And I didn't know this. The term earworm, when we were talking about when a song gets stuck
Yes.
in your head,
Hmm.
that's from a German word.
Oh,
That
okay.
so that's what that it's about getting a song stuck in your head and they call it an earworm and they say it in German. Obviously.
It's a
But
Wormski,
yeah, earworms. That's Polish.
Oh, a different one. Yeah. Okay. Different language. I get it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. It looks very much like earworm, but it has a lot of other letters in it, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to try to pronounce it. Der Handschuh is the word for glove, and it translates to hand shoe.
See the shoe in there. Yeah.
Yeah. The word for light bulb I couldn't pronounce, but the German word translates to glow pear, like the fruit. So
Hmm.
it's a glowing pear, which, yeah, of course, that's what a light bulb looks like. It's very,
Right.
see, they're
Exactly.
smart. They're smart,
Yeah.
these Germans. They're very, that's what that is. I love that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know why I wrote that down. I can't pronounce that. But their word for bicycle, translates into wire donkey.
Okay.
Well, because you might ride on a donkey, and this one's
Yeah.
made of wire.
Yeah. Huh.
Very interesting, right? Um,
Yeah.
Das Kopfino, which is probably wrong. I probably put a little bit of like Italian on that. Is the word for daydreaming, and it translates to head cinema,
Uh,
which is
hmm.
great. And then Jello in German is Wackelpudding, which translates to wobble pudding.
Wobble pudding.
Yeah, yeah. Wortschatz is German for vocabulary, and it translates to word treasure, which is very nice.
Hmm.
I like that. And Fingerhut, like the company. That's the
Finger
word.
cuts.
Fingerhut.
Finger hut. Oh, finger
Fingerhut.
hut. Okay. Yeah.
That's their word for a thimble because it's a finger hat.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And Schnapsidee is a word for a foolish idea, which literally translates into booze idea or alcohol induced idea, which is very good. And then I threw another one in there that isn't a word, but it's a saying, and it just made me giggle. You know how we say, like, oh, it's all Greek to me, like I have no
Hmm.
idea anything about that subject or whatever. Their saying is translated to, I only understand train station.
Okay. All righty.
Like, listen, this is way too complicated, but I know how to get to the train station,
Yeah. There
okay?
you go. Yeah.
Everything else, way too complicated.
Yeah.
So I thought those were really good. So I had that. And then, so I have another long one, but I can do it after if you've got some more. But I want to do one short one. And
Hmm.
I wonder if you knew this. You may have heard of part of this, but did you know that sugar can heal many infections that antibiotics can't cure?
Really?
Yeah. And sugar was used for many, many years to dress wounds because of this, but what they've found now and what is back in it's trendy again. It's back in fashion is honey. So honey is
Oh,
really effective because honey because of the viscosity of it and because of the texture of it, it really helps with that. So the way that sugar and honey work is that they act by osmosis, and sugar is very good at drawing out liquid, drawing
okay.
fluid, right?
Hmm.
So if you put like a viscous sugar or a honey on a wound, it'll draw out all the fluids, it'll draw out like the nasty stuff. And if it's viscous like honey, it will inhibit any bacterial growth because it's an oxygen-less environment, which is
Oh,
why honey can't grow any bacteria in it, and it never goes bad
oh,
because it actually inhibits it has no oxygen in the environment, so nothing that needs oxygen can live, which is very cool. And the sugar actually clears out dead tissue, and it can also what else does it do? It promotes growth of, like, the sugar itself will feed your cells, so promoting
okay.
growth of new tissue. So it's actually used for like burns and things like that. uh some skin grafts use a form of sugar, and the honey that they recommend specifically is manuka honey because it's a very specific honey that's highly effective at this. But like, yeah, the reason I knew about this too, I read this fact like, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, and there's a very effective treatment for severe hemorrhoids that involves sugar.
Oh, okay.
And this article had a couple of little snippets of comments on it where
Oh,
people are like, I'm just gonna, like, shove some sugar at my butt or whatever. But it's
yeah.
it's medical grade sugars, medical grade honey.
Yeah.
But it actually can be more effective than surgery in treating those really bad hemorrhoids, the ones that are like really painful and like
Yeah.
awful. My question about that is just like, number one, the application, and how do you keep it where it's supposed to be? Like, do you have to lay a certain way for a long time with
Once you
your
use some beets,
just stick your butt up in the air and
Yeah,
with some manuka honey, and then just, I don't know, how long do you have to keep it that way?
that's
Like,
right. Yeah.
how do you go to work and stuff? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just concerned. I'm concerned for these people with hemorrhoids. But yeah, so
Huh.
that's why it was funny. But yeah, so sugar. As a disclaimer, because we are a show that people may listen to, please don't use table sugar for any of your wounds.
Yeah.
Please use medical grade honey, manuka honey, things like that. Oh, and one thing that this is very effective for, which I thought you'd find interesting, it's very, very effective in the treatment of diabetic ulcers.
Really? Huh.
Well, I find that fascinating because the
The sugar
circulatory
is
problems are because of too much sugar in the
sugar,
blood.
right? Yeah.
And then the sugar's like, I'm sorry, let me fix it. Put me here instead and I can fix the whole thing, I promise. So yeah. So those are that was my quick
Oh.
little sugar cure.
Oh,
Um
okay.
and it makes sense, like when they talk about things lasting a long time, not just honey, but you know, as you become an adult, you start to realize that you have to know things like how long something is good for in the fridge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and I always struggle with things like jelly,
Hmm.
but people keep assuring me that jelly is good for a very long time in the fridge. It just makes me nervous because of the high sugar content. It
Yeah.
pretty much won't go bad for a long time, but I still
I get
kind of,
nervous about it too. Yeah.
yeah, right. And
Yeah.
ketchup too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
not that ketchup lasts long in my house. I eat a lot of it, but like, even though I'm older than 8 years old, uh, but I I would feel really weird. Like, I have sauces in my fridge that are pretty sugar based. Like sauces you dip things in, for instance. But if I haven't opened it for a while, I will throw it away and get another one. I don't care if it's okay. I'm too nervous about that.
Uh, cool.
Yeah. So.
So it was interesting, and you were talking about something this a while ago. I think I said it just hit me, and I wanted to bring this thing up about how do bikes stand up?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's like, as a kid, when somebody's training you to ride a bike, they stand behind you and hold the seat, and
Right.
and then they let go, and
And then they
oh, I
trick
can ride
you.
a bike.
Yeah.
Well, the
They
reality is
deceive you.
they deceive you, but the reality is the bike is designed to the steering axis is tilted slightly towards the seat, and the bike wheel makes contact with the ground right below the axis, and that keeps it up. And the other thing that dictates why a bike stays up is the gyroscopic precision, which
Right.
governs how helicopters steer. It also affects bikes. The force is applied to the spinning wheels so the movement happens, and so the force applied pushes the bike left from the ground. It actually turns the wheel to the left, which keeps you going balanced. It balances you. So if you're going one way, it balances you. It pushes the other way to keep you in balance.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and that's the reason why a slow moving bike doesn't stand up, is the wheel doesn't have enough time to turn to keep the bike in balance.
Yeah, it always made sense to me that like the force of the movement was what was keeping it upright.
Upright, yep. Yeah.
Because yeah, if you're going too slow, you're wobbly.
That's
And
right. You're trying to keep it straight, and so the more you move, the easier it is, and that stays in balance. Now, I could also argue that, if you have a balance problem, you probably couldn't ride a bike. So
yes, and also if you turn your head while you're riding a bike, the bike will go that way.
that's right.
Which
Exactly.
I learned when I very abruptly met a tree. Uh,
Yep.
the
That'll do
second
it.
time I rode a bike.
Yeah. Anyway, I digressed on that, but that was just like the bike thing came up, and
Oh, that's very
I
good.
want to bring it up. It's just like it's one of those things you pops into your head. Why is that like that? Just like when they did the vegetable things. Why, you know, where did vegetables come from? How did we decide we're going to eat vegetables like we had in our last episode?
Right, right.
Uh,
Things you
so
don't have to think about anymore, but you should because you should always be thinking about things.
that's right. So I got a few, this is sort of a completely different angle. It's like in 1939, on the assumption that gas would be Germany's principal weapons, the British government distributed 38 million masks across the
Right.
country. They were never needed. Although the Japanese used gas against the Chinese, chemical weapons played no part in the war, because one of the main reasons, because public abhorrence of them. People just, because after First World War, that so many deaths were attributed to the gas,
Yeah.
that they just didn't want to see it happen again. They were, they hated for the stealth that you couldn't tell, you can't be seen or smelled until it's too late. And before first, the gas mask attacks happened in 1915, before gas masks were available.
Mhm.
To neutralize it, the chlorine, the soldiers were told to soak their socks in urine and
Mhm.
wrap them around their faces.
Yep.
And gas masks were quickly developed by both sides. And the gas masks that were quickly developed are said to be the reason for Hitler's famous mustache.
I was just gonna say that. That's
Yeah,
probably why he hated it because he had to get that dumb mustache because
right.
he had one of those handlebar
That's
mustaches.
right. He had a bushy, broader Kaiser style one, and he had to
Yep.
trim it so it
Hmm.
fit inside a mask.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
So,
now nobody
uh,
can have one of those
yeah,
aside from, you know, it was like him and Charlie Chaplin, but Charlie Chaplin had it around the same time, so it was like sort of okay.
yeah.
But nobody anymore.
Nobody anymore.
I
It,
I, I sort of half related to that. I stumbled across a very interesting fact about the Marx Brothers. So, one of the Marx Brothers, of course, the Marx Brothers, their professional names aren't their real names. Like,
Right.
yeah. So, Harpo Marx,
Hmm.
his birth name was Adolf,
Okay.
and he changed it later. I think he changed it to Arthur, I believe.
Hmm.
And so my first assumption reading that fact was, oh, I bet he changed it because of Hitler. But no,
Right.
he changed it like way before Hitler, just because he didn't like the name.
Oh, okay.
He preferred to name himself after an uncle who he liked
Yeah.
or whatever. So I thought that was an interesting snippet because I knew that one of them's name was Adolf at one point,
Hmm.
and then when I read that that he changed his name, I was like, oh, I bet I know why. And the timeline just didn't work out. They were way
Yeah.
before these folks
Yeah.
were way before Hitler was a problem.
That's
He
right.
was
Yeah, they developed their routine in burlesque, and
in
I believe
burlesque
in
in it.
the 20s or
Like the
before.
teens,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
teens. And I
Yeah.
I also didn't know about the Marx Brothers that Groucho was not the oldest. I always thought
No.
he was. But I think
Zeppo, maybe.
Zeppo maybe was the
Maybe.
oldest or
Yeah.
yeah,
Or
yeah. And Harpo was older than Groucho as well
yeah.
by a couple of years. So that I always found that interesting. Harpo's my
Mhm.
favorite actually. I
Yeah.
love Groucho. I really do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Harpo was my favorite. I like the strong silent type.
Yeah.
But anyhow, go for it.
Yeah, so one last thing about the gas is the mustard gas was the most notorious weapon, but
Mhm.
it's not a gas, which I didn't realize it.
Oh,
It was room temperature, it's a liquid. And to
okay.
be deployed, it has to be finely dispersed by mortars as an aerosol. It's especially lethal because it's strong enough to dissolve the rubber and leather in gas masks.
Oh, nasty.
And it smells like horseradish or mustard, which that's where it gets its
That's why
name.
it's called that. Okay.
Yeah, and Germans sometimes disguise it as a lilac scented tear gas,
Oh,
and
jeez.
tear gas is also a liquid rather than a gas. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that because it gets sprayed on you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and a bunch of other weird. I got into a bunch of things. Is like, and you probably, again, you would like this. Along with lacrosse, ice hockey is Canada's official national sport.
Of course.
It's a matter of great pride to Canadians that they invented it. However, Halifax and Windsor and Nova Scotia both stake a claim, as do Montreal and Kingston, Ontario. But the game was actually invented and first played in England.
Uh-huh. Sure
You know,
was.
and one of the earliest known players was Charles Darwin.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I that's really cute. I just read last night a very funny but very sad thing, a very relatable thing. So Charles
Mhm,
Darwin, he did a lot of writing, obviously. He
mhm.
did a lot of journaling, but he also wrote a lot of letters. And
Yeah.
he was very I think he was very easily frustrated and he was very emotional
Mhm.
because these letters let me I'm sorry to divert, but because you mentioned Darwin, he wrote these letters and he had so many versions of this. I'm very poorly today and I'm very stupid and hate everybody and everything.
Wow.
He wrote that a lot. He wrote like I am languid and poorly and I hate everything and I hate everybody. Like he
Wow.
just yeah, oh yeah. I'm very stupid and I hate and he said also like that he hates he hated the species that he was like
Oh,
working on.
okay.
Like it was a very cute moment. Like it's a very humanizing moment
Right,
for me
right.
looking at a historical figure because he's like somebody who does important work over time, they also have like shitty days.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I just love the idea of him sitting in his diary and going, I hate this and I hate my job
yeah,
and I hate everything and I hate people and I hate everything.
yeah.
I don't feel good.
S- the ice hockey, there's an engraving of a young man skating on frozen Thames wearing a top hat and carrying a curved stick.
Oh, on the Thames. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it appeared in a book called Juvenile Sports and Pastimes in 1797, almost 80 years before the first official ice hockey match took place in Canada in
Oh,
1875.
that's interesting.
More than 2 decades earlier, in 1853, Charles Darwin wrote to his son, My dear old Willie, his son was William. Have you got a pretty good pond to skate on? I used to be very fond of playing hockey on ice in skates.
That's cool.
And yeah, Darwin wasn't the only famous player. Prince Albert and the Prince of Wales, future King Edward the Seventh, were also participation
Hmm.
before English Army officers took it across the Atlantic and introduced it to Canada.
That's right. Well, Canada was a British territory.
Yep,
It still kind of technically is, I think. It's like,
yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the
yeah,
king is still they still recognize the king. Yeah.
they do.
So
Yeah, they do. Yeah, the king, and actually, there's that thing. So the monarchy in England, there's a constitutional monarchy, right? So they don't have any like, they don't exercise any power per se,
right,
but
right.
they technically do have that power at their disposal. The king at any time could technically just take Canada and nobody could do anything about it if he decided to. And he
Right.
could decide to dissolve the Constitution if he wanted to. He just
Hmm.
doesn't want to. And so that should be a lesson to anybody who is
Hmm.
thinking about doing stupid stuff like that. It's
Yep.
probably not a good
Yep.
idea.
No, probably not.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, recently they have a tradition when the new prime minister comes in, he goes to the king, and the king officially tells him to form a new government. So,
Yep. Yep.
so you know what the oldest profession is?
I know what they say the oldest profession
That's
is,
right.
but it's, yeah.
It's tool making.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, some of those smithies are pretty hot when they're like
Mhm. Yeah, they were turning lumps of flint into tools more than 2.5 million years ago.
wow.
So,
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
yeah, tools, making tools may have helped them learn how to talk, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, and there's a research that shows that the area of the brain used to make a stone tool is very close to that which controls language.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's interesting. I wonder how that works. I like that though. I like
yeah,
that idea.
yeah. Jingle Bells, the song.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't mention Christmas at all.
No, it's not a Christmas song. Yeah.
Yeah, it was for celebrating Thanksgiving.
Right.
Uh, what was the original title?
I used to know this. Well, I think it has to do with wait, is it called Dashing Through the Snow?
The
No.
One Horse Open
One
Sleigh.
horse open sleigh. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Uh,
so is the horse actually named Bobtail?
could be
Yeah.
Bob. Yep.
Some people would
Uh,
say that the horse's name is Bob because it's bells on Bob's tail, but I think the horse's name is Bobtail because they probably
uh,
bobbed his tail. They used to bob the tails of horses that they would use on a carriage so that the tail would be flapping all over the place. They would just bob the tail and they named him Bobtail.
yeah, Bobtail. Yeah. So, American composer James Lloyd Pierpont, uncle of the financier J.P. Morgan.
Ah,
Yeah, his father, Pierpont's father, commissioned that song for a Thanksgiving service. So,
that's interesting.
yeah. So, Jingle Bells, first tune played it live in space. Uh, yeah, they were when December 16th, 1965, astronauts Willie Schirra and Tom Stafford were preparing to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, and they contacted Mission Control to report a UFO. And to further the story, they have an object looking like a satellite going from north to south. It looks like it might be going to enter soon. So they said the command module, the pilot of the command module is wearing a red suit. Before Houston could respond, Schirra started playing Jingle Bells on a harmonica aboard a spacesuit. He was accompanied by Stafford on sleigh bells. Anyway.
That's cute. That's very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is actually true, and I bet Richard could correct me. But the first song I ever observed being sung on the moon was during one of the first moonwalks. I don't remember which guy started singing I was strolling through the park one day
Uh,
in the merry, merry month of, and then he's like, December, because it wasn't May or whatever month it was.
Yeah.
Uh, it wasn't the first
Oh,
moonwalk. It was like it was like, I don't know, it was like Apollo 12 or something. Richard could definitely correct me on that
okay. Very
because
good.
he knows
Yeah.
better than I do. But yeah, so there you go.
Okay, cool.
So I can
Yeah,
do Ooh.
and if you're listening to this podcast, I suggest you listen to the previous podcast of vegetables, which I listened to recently, and I said, "Wow, that was pretty good."
I think it was. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we did okay.
yeah, I think we did okay if we do say so ourselves. So,
Yes. Yeah, so do that. So go back and listen to our podcast on vegetables. And, they might make you feel a little better about vegetables because people are still feeling a little nervous about vegetables right now, but mostly lettuce, but other vegetables as well and berries. But so do that. So go and listen to our episodes. You could subscribe to us on any of the podcast platforms, but if you subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and you leave a rating, like a 5-star rating, what that does is that it makes us visible in searches, people searching for a podcast to listen to, and then people could find us since you guys haven't, really spread the word. So please do that too, spreading the word. And if you
yep.
would like to make any suggestions for future episodes or say hello or do any of that business, send us an email, mochiverse@gmail.com. That's MOCCIAVERSE@gmail.com. And I guess I think we're feeling a little punchy, so
That's it. Yep.
let's do some dad jokes.
Okay, sounds good. You're getting. I'm not sure if I've done these before, but if I do it, I apologize in advance. You're getting older when you and your teeth don't sleep together, and you're getting older when you try to straighten out the wrinkles in your socks and discover that you aren't wearing any.
Yeah, yuck.
Yeah, at the breakfast table, you hear snap, crackle, pop, and you're not eating cereal.
No.
You know, when you wake up looking like your driver's license picture.
That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're getting older when it takes 2 tries to get up from the couch.
Oh, yeah, at least.
Yeah, you're getting older when the idea of a night out is sitting on the patio.
Yep.
When happy hour is a nap.
Mm-hmm.
When you're on vacation and your energy runs out before your money does.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
When all you want for your birthday is not to be reminded of your age.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And when you step off a curb and look down one more time just to make sure the street is still there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You have to.
Yep. When your weightlifting is standing up. Yeah, it takes longer to rest than it did when you get tired.
Yeah.
And your address book has mostly names that start with DR. You sit in a rocking chair and you can't get it going.
Aw.
Your pharmacist has become your new best friend.
Yes, right.
And the twinkle in your eye is merely a reflection from the sun on your bifocals.
I was going to say cataracts.
Yeah,
Your new
yeah.
lenses. Yeah.
And you're getting old when it takes twice as long to look half as good.
Mm.
And you're getting old when everything hurts and what doesn't hurt doesn't work.
Nice.
You're getting old when you look for your glasses for a half hour and you find out they're on your head.
They're on your head, yeah. Or when you say hold on a second to the person you're speaking to on the phone because I can't find my phone.
It's it. Yeah, it's it. Cool.
Oh my goodness, is that all of them?
That's all of them.
All right, we did it. I guess we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. I've got a little cat. I'm very fond of that. I'd rather have a big bow wow.
V-E-R. I forgot the rest. MOCCIAVERSE at least I knew the mocha part.
Yeah.
I'm very poorly today, and I'm very stupid and hate everybody and everything.